Hi guys, I'm Tiana and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm basically going to be covering a few Q&As that was asked about my journey into motherhood. So it wouldn't be a mum vlog without a birth story. So this has been like a popular question, kind of like what actually happened during my birth. Jamila was like 11 days late. My girl did not want to come out. She was very, very comfortable. So I opted for the induction to get induced. See, look at my life. So on the actual day I got induced, I went in the morning. It was called a pessary. So a pessary is basically when they like put like a tablet or some sort of gel thing up your hoo-ha. Yes, like up there. I feel like I was fisted by like 1,000 nurses just to get Jamila out. I'm no lie. And then I went home. They sent me home like everything was normal. And I was just there chilling, watching TV, thinking, oh, like I've tried everything. This girl was not coming out. And I never knew what contractions meant to feel like. Oh my God, you know, like you know that pain of a contraction is something like it's unreal that you would have never felt for. The best way for me to describe it is like a period cramp, but like a severe one that's constantly non-stop like pulsing. So I was having these contractions and I thought, you know, it's probably like nothing at the moment. My crazy ass went to try apply for a job when I'm contracting or nearly about to give birth. Let me tell you, did I even get past the can you fill in your name part? It was just too intense. I shouted to my mum and Sean and was like, it's time. We are going to the hospital right now. So we grabbed the baby bag and we all jumped in the car. And yeah, everyone's trying to talk to me. These times I'm like, like I'm contracting. Like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm in pain. Why are you trying to bust big conversation with me? I just want to get to the hospital. So when I got there, I went to the triage, which is the bit you go to. It's like an A&E for like pregnant people. For them to put you into the labour ward and stuff, you have to be 5 centimetres dilated down there. When I got there, I'm feeling this big pain. I'm only 1 centimetre. I was like, I am not going home. Like the pain was so intense. I was like, I'm not going home. Sorry, I'm not. Like you're not sending me away to come back. We are doing it now. So they put like a heart rate monitor on my belly to track Jamila. Let me tell you, it was a blessing from God. The only reason they sent me to the labour ward is because her heart rate dropped like all of a sudden. It wasn't like for long, but it dropped like dramatically. So I was thinking, yes, my girl, it's time. Let's do this. So for me, I was over the moon that I was even going up to the labour ward, because had she not dropped like her heart rate, they were sending me right back home to be suffering in silence. Me, I was not doing that. It was too much. And me, I have a high pain tolerance. Like, I don't know why, or even how, but as soon as I got to the labour ward, even though I was excited to be up there because I knew like it was happening, the pain just increased dramatically. Like it was, I don't know if it was like a placebo or a mental thing, but I just was in so much pain. Like I couldn't even like move properly. They put me in the gown, you know, the one with your ass just hanging out. Like, I don't know, it's so like degrading. Like, why is half my body covered, first of all? But it is what it is. That's like the least of your worries when you're up there. They tried to put me on the bed, but I was in so much pain. And you know when you're in pain, you just want to stretch out, like you don't want to feel confined. That's how I felt on the bed. So I said to the nurse, like, I'm not gonna lie, can you bring in extra pillows? I'm going on the floor. And then she's like, in all my years of nursing, no one has ever asked me to lie on the floor during labour. So I was like, well, of course it would be me to be a first, but me, I just felt more free on the floor. I wanted to stretch, I wanted to scream, I wanted to do everything just on the floor, but I just felt like I was more freer on the floor than the bed. Even though it was dirty, like when I look back at it, I was really on the hospital floor. Like, what was I doing? But at the time, like, it just felt right. I'm gonna put a picture here of me on the floor. So the pain went on for like 2 to 3 hours after. I was just lying on the floor and I fell asleep. I don't know how, but I managed to find a position that I was comfortable to fall asleep in. Another reason I forgot to mention why I was on the floor is they strapped some like machine, like a heart rate monitor to me. And because I was in pain. I kept moving, so it kept moving, so they couldn't really track what was happening with Jamila. That's another reason why I was like, I'm not staying in bed, because I'm gonna keep moving. But when I was on the floor, I finally found a position that I was comfy enough to sleep in, and where they could track the heart rate. And then they also injected me with, I think it was some sort of morphine. I think it was called diamorphine, because I didn't want like loads of drugs in my system, but that kind of helped numb things a bit. And let me tell you, that knocked me out. That was some good stuff. Like, I actually just fell asleep and I didn't feel nothing. I slept for like a good hour before anything happened. So I would say after like I found out the contractions, like I was ready, my legs were all cock up in the air and all sorts. I don't even know like what was happening. And I think it took me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually give birth. I was cranky. They kept telling me push, push, push and breathe. Do you want more gas and air? Like, I was like, how do you want me to push and scream and do gas and air at the same time? I don't want nothing. I just want this baby out of me. And then I remember my mum offering me water, and she kept saying, do you want water? Do you want water? I remember saying, if I want water, I will ask you. Stop offering. It's annoying. Like, I was so snappy. And then I remember at a point, there was loads of junior doctors in the room, so everyone's coming and saying, hello, hi, I'm this person. I was thinking, I don't give a shit. If you're not here to take this baby out of me, get the hell out. Like, I'm really sitting here, like, for your uni studies to be like, oh yeah, so this girl has given birth, and you're there like, yeah, let me take notes on my vagina. No, get out. Like, I was just out of it. And then Jamila got stuck. Like, she was out, but like her shoulders were stuck, and then they had to use this like plunger thing on her head. I can't remember what the name is, but yeah, they used this like plunger thing to put it on her head. So I had to like push, and they had to like pull at the plunger. And then finally, my girl made her appearance to the earth. One of the next questions that I was asked is, how long did it take to heal after giving birth? So for me, I would say it took like a good 6 months to proper heal and feel at peace with kind of what's happened down there. My hoo-ha was, yeah, it was all over the place. Like, I would say that part of it was quite traumatic for me after. I did have to have stitches down there because I got like teared when they used the plunger. I found out that the plunger is actually called forceps, so I will leave the name of it if anyone's interested in reading up on that. But yeah, so it teared me a little bit. At the time I never felt it, but afterwards is when I would say I felt it. Like, it really was sore down there. It was hard to move. I was very uncomfortable. I was scared. Like, I feel like people don't speak about this bit too tough, but you kind of have like flashbacks of the feeling of giving birth and that pain. So for me, it was like slight little movements would kind of make me think of that feeling of giving birth, and it's traumatizing. So Jamila just woke up from her nap and decided to join me. Say hello. No? Okay. Yeah, she's got my screw face. But you want to join in my story time? In terms of healing, that would say that's like the physical side of healing. But in terms of my mental healing, I would say up to now, as much as it's almost been 2 years, I feel like I'm still healing from certain things. Not just like the pain of pregnancy, but also how much it changes your life, your identity, your feeling of self. Like, there's a lot to adapt to even now. Like, I feel like once you become a parent, like, it's always kind of a thing of adapting. Were you mentally prepared for the journey before birth? To an extent, I was, in terms of the physical side of actually giving birth, because everyone kept saying, no, you're not scared, like, oh my god, like, it's gonna hurt so much. But for me, I was like, my body just will know what to do at the time, so I have faith in that and I trust in that. Like, you can't really think too much into that. You can't plan for that because everything kind of just happens in the moment with that one. In terms of the other sides of it, like actually becoming a mum, I don't feel like I was mentally prepared. for what's to come after. And I had a lot of uncertainty, you know. I was living in a hostel before giving birth, so for me, I didn't really have a stable place for myself. So for me, I was scared, how am I meant to give her stability when I don't have stability myself? And one thing I would do is kind of like self-destruct. I would look on Instagram, which is like a big no-no for certain things, and kind of compare, like, and be like, oh, this person's making a nursery and this person's doing that, oh, they're preparing for their childbirth. So me, I wasn't in a situation where I could prepare for my child, or, you know, even think about, oh, let me create a nice little room for her. So for me, it was kind of making me more depressed, but, you know, I kept faith, and I've got my house now, and Jamila has her own room, and even though she has her own room, like, I'm still in the process of decorating a whole year later, but I'm not so stressed about, oh, let me create like this fancy nursery, because I'm just grateful for the journey I've been on, and that we have stability. And so everything else that mattered before, it doesn't matter now, kind of thing. As long as we have a roof over our head, she's got her space, she's safe, I'm fine with that. Are you sticking your tongue out at the people then? Next question.
No.
What do you mean no? I'm asking the question. Do you have any regrets about becoming a mum in your early 20s? Absolutely not. How I see it is, when I'm 30, I'm gonna have a whole 10-year-old, and when I'm 40, we're gonna be sisters. Like I keep saying, I'm a MILF, I'm gonna be a MILF. Like we sisters really at heart. Like, that yawn was rude. Yeah. But no, like I feel like I have more energy to do things with her now, and we're both growing together, because, you know, I'm pretty much just starting off my life, and I feel like being able to grow with her pushes me and myself in different directions. What are some of the body changes you went through that you are still adjusting to today? These titties, oh my god, everyone's that wants big titties, reconsider, because it's pain, there's so much weight, and finding a bra that's actually your size, it's actually really hard. At the same time, they're a blessing and a curse at the same time, because when I put on an outfit that proper makes the cleavage pop, let me tell you, my boobs snatched. This chin, man, this double chin, I know you lot see this. I've kind of learnt to embrace it a little bit, but my face just got fatter, like, after giving birth. But, you know, I just need to learn a couple contour trips, and that can be hidden, like, my hair, it's alright now, but after giving birth, I noticed that my hair, like the front of it, was really thinning. So say, like, I always used to slick my hair, and I could see it, like, receding, like, and I started taking vitamins and, like, doing hair masks and stuff, and it helped it grow back, but I definitely saw my hair thinning. But from researching it, that's quite a common thing when you've given birth. My mum tum, if anything, that's the one thing that I'm probably the most insecure about, and that's taken me forever to lose. And to be honest, it comes down to I don't exercise enough. I wouldn't even say it's diet too tough, because I do, I've actually changed my diet a lot. I've lost a lot of weight, but it doesn't matter how much weight I lost, I still have the mum tum. I'll show you so you get what I mean. Sorry, I'm in Sean's boxers. Don't watch that. But, like, I know it's not mad, but for me, it's my biggest insecurity, because it's like this excess weight, and it's really, really hard to lose. So it's also not nice when, you know, you're going out and you've got this little bulge in your belly, and people are like, oh, are you pregnant again? And it's like, it's just really disheartening, because especially as I'm insecure about it, that I'm actually trying to lose it, and then the fact that it's still noticeable, like blatantly noticeable to people, it's just, it doesn't make me feel good in myself. But at the same time, I have to remember, I carried a whole human, like, look at the size of this girl in my belly. So I have to give myself credit where it's due, because, you know, like, of course my belly's gonna stretch, it's not gonna just bounce back. Some people are lucky it does, but for me, that's just not the case, and I've got to accept that in myself and find my own journey with it. I'm kind of coming to peace with it. I've accepted my little mum podge, and I'm doing whatever to lose it. Like I started pole dancing, so you know that helped me shred the weight dramatically. So things that you wish you knew earlier. I wish I knew how much your titties leak when or if you are thinking to breastfeed, because nobody prepared me for that. There were some days my top was literally like drenched, and I could like change my top like 3 times just before I could leave the house. I was wearing breast pads upon breast pads and they were getting soaked. So for me, I wish I'd known the extent of which your breast could leak, so I could have kind of prepared for that a little bit better. I also another thing I would say, this is another gross thing, but listen, it's gonna happen to all of you at some point, all of us. The first shit is traumatizing. I would say when you give birth 3 times. The actual birth, the placenta, and the first shit. It literally feels like you're giving birth again. And I remember finally being able to go, and then Jamila's screaming at me, my mum's screaming at me that Jamila's screaming, and I'm screaming because I'm in pain, feeling like I'm giving birth again. So just know, like, if you can, drink loads of cranberry, loads of water, loads of prune juice, because you need to get them bowels going, girl, because it's gonna hurt. Did you find it easy to adjust to motherhood? That's quite of a difficult question, in the sense where I wouldn't say I've adjusted to motherhood. I would say I'm still adjusting. See like this? Like I have to put up with this. I don't even know why she's moaning. But motherhood, you're always adjusting. Like the journey doesn't just stop because you've become a mum. Okay. Yeah. For me, I would say I'm finding it harder now than when she was like a newborn. I would say, you know, newborn stage is nice and calm. Toddler stage, or toddler as I would say, because what do you call a 1-year-old? They're not a baby and they're not a toddler, they're somewhere in the middle. Is like the worst, because that's when you're really seeing their personality. They're very vocal, they have, you know, like loads of tantrums. So it's adjusting to what her needs are, and like trying to listen to her, but at the same time not letting her take advantage of me, kind of thing, or like being manipulative with kind of how she wants to get her point across. So it's kind of meeting a common ground with your child is where I would say I'm finding it the hardest at this current moment. I would say with the adjustment process, it was more of a mental thing for me, in terms of, I feel like you have a bit of a loss of self because you're now someone's mum, whereas you was just like your person. I was just Tiana before. I'm now Jamila's mum, and for me, it's like, I got to a point where I was like, am I only ever going to be Jamila's mum? Like, who am I? Because who I was is not who I am anymore. And it's just kind of, you know, actually coming to terms with that in itself, that, you know, I'm remembering you are not just this person's mum, you are also yourself. So for me, it was getting to a place of trying to do things, you know, that I did enjoy before becoming a mum, and not losing sight of that, and, you know, trying to find myself. What's the most powerful thing you've learned as a mother? Time is probably the most important thing, I would say, because we feel like we have a lot of it and we really don't. For every day that we're living is another time, you know, it's another day we're losing, as morbid as that might sound. Like, for me, to say, you know, Jamila's almost 2, like, bro, like, time flies by. So for me, when it's like someone still hasn't seen Jamila and they're still saying, oh, I need to come see you guys, you know, I'm like, she's almost 2. It really, having a child really kind of helps putting a timestamp on things and getting rid of relationships that were kind of toxic or didn't need to be there, kind of thing. It also makes you really appreciate time, because just her, like, the way a baby changes within a year, like, even every day, it's so quick. So it makes me realise I have to cherish every single moment. And that just doesn't apply to having Jamila, but it's just one of the things that have helped, like, that I've really understood, like, the value of time itself, and spending time with family and having meaningful relationships because having her, I'm very like cautious of who I have around her and who's around me now. And for me, I feel like the people I have in my life now is meaningful. Having her really got to cut off and realise who I actually need, who's actually gonna be there to better me and my child. So sorry, like she just wants to talk over me, but I don't want to sugarcoat nothing from you guys. This is real, like this is really how it's like to be a parent. Like you can't just like lock your child in the room. Like she's gonna be here, so you're gonna see this in a lot of my other videos. Anyways, thank you so much for watching our first YouTube video, and I hope you guys follow our journey. So hit like, subscribe, comment anything you want us to speak about, and go share. Thank you, say bye. I guess not, but